The trailer opens with a feeling that is completely different from anything we've seen before. There's no sense of victory, no sense of peace. Instead, there's this heavy silence hanging over everything, like the land itself knows something bad is coming. Montana doesn't feel like a home anymore. It feels like a battlefield waiting for the first shot. And right in the middle of it all stands Spencer Dutton. Older, slower, but not weaker. His eyes tell the story before he even says a word. This is a man who has buried more people than he ever thought he would. A man who survived wars, oceans, and time itself, only to face his greatest fight at home. What makes this trailer so powerful is how personal everything feels. This isn't just about enemies outside the ranch. It's about something changing inside the family itself. You can see it in the way Spencer walks through the land. He doesn't look proud, he looks worried. Almost like he knows his time is running out. And for the first time, the ranch doesn't feel permanent. It feels fragile, like one wrong move could destroy everything the Duttons spent generations building. But then, the trailer shows us something even more important. A young boy, quiet, watching, learning. This is John Dutton III, and even without saying it directly, you can already tell this is his story. He's not the powerful man we know yet. He's just a kid trying to understand why his family carries so much pain, why the land matters more than anything else, and why every Dutton before him was willing to sacrifice everything for it. The way he looks at Spencer tells you everything. He's not just seeing his grandfather, he's seeing the future he can't escape. What's even more interesting is how the world around them has changed. This isn't the wild frontier anymore. This is 1969. The modern world is coming, and it's not asking for permission. You can feel the pressure closing in from every direction. Outsiders don't see the ranch as history. They see it as opportunity. They see land, money, power. And for the first time, the Dutton name alone might not be enough to stop them. There's also this emotional weight connected to Alexandra that you can't ignore. Even though she's gone, her presence is everywhere. Spencer isn't just protecting the ranch. He's protecting her memory. Every step he takes, every decision he makes, feels like it's still connected to her. The trailer makes it clear that he never moved on. Not really. He may have lived decades without her, but he never stopped loving her, and now, as he reaches the end of his life, that love becomes the one thing holding him together. But the most chilling part of the trailer isn't the enemies, it's the uncertainty. For the first time, it feels like the Dutton legacy could actually end. Not because they weren't strong enough, but because the world stopped playing by their rules. Spencer understands that, and deep down, he knows he won't be the one to finish this fight. That responsibility is passing to John. And the scariest part is, he's not ready yet, but he will be. Because 1969 isn't the story of how the Duttons built their empire. It's the story of how close they came to losing it forever. What makes the Yellowstone 1969 trailer even more unsettling is the way it shows Spencer Dutton slowly becoming a ghost in his own world. He's still alive, still breathing, still walking the land he fought so hard to protect. But something inside him has already begun to fade. You can see it in the way he pauses, like he's remembering something that isn't there anymore. Like he's living in two different timelines at once. One where Alexandra is still beside him, and one where he's completely alone. For decades, Spencer was the man who survived everything. Africa didn't break him. War didn't break him. Loss didn't break him. But time is different. Time doesn't attack you all at once. It takes things slowly, piece by piece, until one day you realize the world you knew is gone. And the trailer makes it clear that Spencer knows his chapter is coming to an end. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a heroic way, but in a quiet, inevitable way that feels far more painful. At the same time, the ranch itself doesn't feel safe anymore. There's this constant tension in the air, like something is closing in. The Duttons aren't the only ones who see value in the land now. New people are coming, People who don't care about legacy. People who don't care about sacrifice. To them, the ranch isn't a symbol. It's an asset. And that makes them far more dangerous. Because you can't reason with someone who only sees numbers. This is where the trailer begins to shift its focus toward John Dutton III in a very subtle but powerful way. He's still young, still trying to understand what it means to be part of this family, but you can already see the weight starting to form on his shoulders. He watches everything, he listens, he learns, and most importantly, he begins to realize that being a Dutton isn't a choice, it's a responsibility. One that was decided. There's a moment in the trailer where John stands alone, looking out at the land. He doesn't say anything, he doesn't need to. Because in that silence, you can feel the beginning of something. This is where the boy starts to disappear and the man starts to form. This is where he begins to understand why his grandfather sacrificed everything, why his family endured so much pain, and why one day he might have to do the same. But what makes this even more emotional is Spencer's role in all of it. He isn't just protecting the ranch anymore, he's preparing John, teaching him without words, showing him what it means to carry the Dutton name. Spencer knows he won't be there forever, and that realization changes everything. Every look he gives John, every moment they share, it all feels like a quiet goodbye that hasn't happened yet. And then there's the fear, not fear of death. Spencer has faced death his entire life. This is different. This is the fear of leaving the ranch behind in a world that no longer respects it. The fear of knowing that John will have to face enemies who don't play by the old rules, enemies who won't hesitate, enemies who won't stop. Because the truth is, the world of 1969 doesn't care about the Dutton legacy. It's moving forward, with or without them. And Spencer can feel it. He knows the storm is coming. He knows he won't be the one to stop it. All he can do now is make sure John is ready to survive it. Because once Spencer is gone, everything will change, and the ranch will no longer belong to the past. It will belong to John. But the most shocking part of the Yellowstone 1969 trailer isn't Spencer's age, it's his fear. For the first time, the man who once faced charging lions and enemy soldiers, without hesitation, looks like he's facing something he can't control. And that something is the future. Because the enemies in 1960s don't come with guns and horses, they come with patience, with plans, with time on their side. And that makes them far more dangerous than anything Spencer has ever faced before. You can feel it in the way the ranch is shown. It doesn't look weak, it doesn't look broken, but it does look exposed. Like the walls that once protected it don't mean as much anymore. The world has grown bigger, faster. And the Duttons are no longer the only power in Montana. There's this quiet realization building throughout the trailer that legacy alone won't save them this time. And Spencer knows it. What makes this even more emotional is how Spencer looks at John, not just with love, but with concern, because he sees himself in that boy. The same stubbornness, the same fire, the same willingness to sacrifice everything. But he also sees something else, innocence. And he knows that innocence won't survive the life John is about to inherit. Spencer understands something that John doesn't yet. The ranch isn't just land, it's a burden. It's a responsibility that takes more than it gives. It demands loyalty, it demands sacrifice, and sometimes it demands loss. Spencer has already paid that price. He lost Alexandra. He lost years of peace. He lost parts of himself that he'll never get back. And now, he knows John will have to walk that same path. There's a powerful shift happening here. For decades, Spencer was the protector, the one standing between the ranch and the world. But now, that role is beginning to pass on. Not because Spencer wants it to, but because it has to. Time doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care about legacy. It moves forward, whether you're ready or not. And John is being pulled forward with it. The trailer makes it clear that John's childhood won't last much longer. He's already starting to see the truth, starting to understand that being a Dutton means living with constant pressure, constant responsibility, and constant fear of losing everything. But instead of running from it, he watches, he listens, he absorbs every detail, because deep down he knows this land will one day depend on him. At the same time, Spencer begins to accept something he spent his entire life fighting against. The end of his control. Not the end of his life just yet, but the end of his role as the ranch's shield. He can't protect it forever. He can't protect John forever. And that realization is heavier than any war he ever fought. There's also this deep emotional connection to Alexandra that never disappears. Even after all these years, she remains the center of Spencer's world. Every decision he makes still feels tied to her memory, and in a way, protecting the ranch is the only way he knows how to stay close to her, because the ranch was their dream, their future, their forever. But forever doesn't exist, and Spencer knows it. That's what makes this trailer so powerful. It isn't just showing us the continuation of the Dutton story. It's showing us the moment everything begins to transfer. The moment the past slowly steps aside and the future steps forward. Spencer isn't just fighting for the ranch anymore. He's fighting for John, because he knows one day, John will stand alone. What makes the Yellowstone 1969 trailer truly haunting is the feeling that time is no longer on the Duttons' side. For generations, time was their greatest ally. It allowed them to grow stronger. It allowed their roots to go deeper into the land. Every year that passed made them harder to remove. But now, for the first time, time feels like the enemy. Because time is taking Spencer away. And with him, it's taking the last direct connection to the original promise that started everything. You can see that Spencer understands this more than anyone. He isn't just looking at the ranch as it is. He's looking at everything it used to be. He remembers arriving in Montana. He remembers fighting to protect it. He remembers Alexandra. And now, he's watching it all slowly turn into memory. The land hasn't changed. The mountains are still standing. The sky is still endless. But Spencer has changed, and deep down, he knows the ranch will soon belong to someone else. At the same time, the trailer begins to show John in a completely different light. He's no longer just observing. He's starting to feel the weight himself. There's confusion in him, questions he doesn't know how to ask. He sees the pain in Spencer, but he doesn't fully understand it yet. He sees the pressure around his family, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. All he knows is that something is shifting, something he can't stop. This is the moment where John begins to realize that the ranch isn't just a place where he lives, it's who he is. It's his past, his present, and his future all at once. And that realization is terrifying. Because once you accept that responsibility, there's no turning back. There's no escape. The ranch becomes part of you, just like it became part of Spencer. But Spencer isn't just watching John, he's studying him. Watching the way he reacts, watching the way he stands, watching the way he looks at the land. Spencer isn't looking for strength, he's looking for resilience. Because strength can fade. Strength can fail. But resilience is what keeps the Duttons alive. There's also this growing sense that Spencer is trying to finish something before it's too late. Not in a rushed way, not in panic, but in quiet urgency. Like a man putting his affairs in order. Like a man preparing the world for his absence. He doesn't say it out loud. He doesn't need to. His actions say everything. And what makes it even more emotional is the way John responds to him. He doesn't see a legend. He sees his grandfather. He sees someone who feels human, someone who feels tired, someone who feels real. And without realizing it, John begins to step closer to the role he was always meant to inherit. But the trailer also makes one thing very clear. The threats facing the ranch aren't going away. They're getting closer, more persistent, more confident. They're waiting for the moment when Spencer is no longer there. Waiting for the moment when the ranch is at its weakest. And Spencer knows it. That's why every moment between him and John feels so important. Every glance, every silence, every second they share feels like preparation for something inevitable. Spencer isn't just spending time with his grandson, he's preparing the next guardian of the Yellowstone. Because once Spencer is gone, there won't be anyone left to carry the past, except John. And whether he's ready or not, the future is coming for him. But the final moments of the Yellowstone 1969 trailer are the ones that stay with you the most, because for the first time it truly feels like the end of an era. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet, emotional way that feels far more real. Spencer Dutton isn't running anymore. He isn't fighting wars across oceans. He isn't chasing survival. He's standing still. And somehow, that's the most powerful we've ever seen him. There's this overwhelming sense that Spencer knows exactly where his story is heading. He's not afraid, he's not angry, he's simply aware. Aware that his life was never really his own. It belonged to the land. It belonged to the promise he made so many years ago. And now, as he looks at everything around him, he isn't asking whether he protected it long enough. He's asking whether he prepared John well enough. Because deep down, Spencer understands the truth that every Dutton eventually learns. The ranch was never meant to be owned. It was meant to be protected. Each generation doesn't inherit freedom. They inherit responsibility. And now, that responsibility is moving forward once again. John Dutton III is no longer just a boy watching from the distance. You can feel the change happening inside him. The questions are still there. The uncertainty is still there. But something else is forming too. Strength. Not the kind that comes from power, but the kind that comes from understanding loss, understanding sacrifice, understanding what it means to stand alone, even when you're surrounded by family. This is where the legend of John Dutton truly begins, not as a rancher, not as a leader, but as a witness to the end of Spencer's reign, a witness to the cost of protecting something that the world constantly tries to take away, and most importantly, a witness to the reality that one day, and then, there's that final feeling, that quiet realization that Yellowstone was never just a place. It was a test of loyalty, a test of endurance, a test of how far someone is willing to go to protect what they love. Spencer passed that test. But now, the test is beginning again, because the world of 1969 is changing faster than ever. The enemies are smarter, the pressure is greater, and the safety that Duttons once relied on is disappearing. John won't have the same advantages Spencer had. He won't have the same time to learn. He'll have to grow faster, become stronger sooner, become the man the ranch needs before the world takes the choice away from him. And that's what makes this trailer so unforgettable. It isn't just showing us what's coming next. It's showing us the exact moment the Yellowstone legacy was placed into John Dutton's hands, the moment Spencer stepped back, the moment the boy stepped forward, and the moment the future of Yellowstone was decided. And yet, the most heartbreaking truth hidden inside the Yellowstone 1969 trailer is something Spencer Dutton has known for a very long time. Legacies don't last forever. No matter how strong you are, no matter how much you sacrifice, one day you become a memory. And the trailer makes it painfully clear that Spencer is standing on the edge of that moment. You can feel it in the way he moves. There's no fear in him, only reflection. This is a man who has already lived 10 lifetimes, a man who has loved deeply, lost deeply, and endured things most people